Guys, the rule of 100, dating, discipline, and dopamine. So, welcome to Gentlemanly. This is the podcast for men who refuse to fade. This isn't therapy, this isn't pickup, this is truth, raw, unapologetic, and potent. I'm your host, Troy Francis. I'm the author of 11 books on dating and other aspects of masculinity, and I have helped thousands of men all over the world with coaching, one-on-one and in person, improve their romantic lives and in other areas of their journeys. So, look, if you want to rewire your dating life, your confidence, and your self-mastery, then don't think, don't overanalyze, just do it 100 times. All right? The root of 100 changed everything for me, and it will for you too. So this is a very practical, advice-heavy podcast episode, if you like. And it boils down to something very simple, which is that repetition beats everything, really. Repetition trumps everything. What is the rule of 100 and why does it obliterate overthinking? The rule of 100 is very simple. Whatever it is that you need to do, okay, or you want to do, or you want to get better at doing, go out and do it 100 times. Okay, it's really as simple as that, all right? So we get a lot of guys who come to us and they say, well, I want to get good at talking to women in the daytime or in social situations. Okay, great. Go out and do it 100 times. Go out this week and say hello to 100 different women. It doesn't even need to be a full conversation, okay? You know, you can set the bar at an appropriate level for wherever you're at. It doesn't need to be some long Shakespearean dialogue where you have this beautiful interaction that can be taped and filmed at the Royal National Film Theatre, you know, in 100 years' time, right? It doesn't need to be of that quality. This is simply about going out and saying, hey, listen, I thought you looked really stylish. I wanted to say hi. Anyway, have a great day. Or wherever it is you're at. Maybe you're at a higher level than that, okay? And you're able to engage in small talk and chat and get a phone number. But you want to improve. You want your confidence to be higher. Okay, go out and do it 100 times. Same thing. You want to start running, okay? Make a goal. I'm going to go out and I'm going to run in the next 3 months. I'm going to run 100 times, okay? Start going to the gym. Okay, right, the next 100 days, or maybe you want to take a rest day off or whatever it is, but for the next 100 days minus rest days, I'm going to go to the gym 100 times, okay? Whatever it is that you want to do, that you want to improve in, do it and commit to doing it 100 times and you will get better, okay? It is as simple as that, because success and ability on which success is founded compounds, all right? And it compounds across or over repetition, all right? So if you do something 100 times, you get better at it. And it's as simple as that, okay? And the other thing is as well is it obliterates overthinking. And overthinking really is the evil genius or the evil kind of mofo that comes in and messes everything up, all right? Overthinking just crushes dreams, really. I mean, I was talking to somebody about this earlier who's talking about making content. He wants to set up a YouTube channel. He's got a Substack and he wants to do content, and that's fine. A lot of people do. But what I've noticed with some people who want to go down this route is that they're very concerned with, you know, oh, okay, what about camera angles, and what about, you know, make sure the sound is the highest quality, and do I need 3 cameras, and what kind of mics am I going to get, and what about the editing, and, you know, what about my intro and my graphics on screen and all this kind of stuff. And my advice to those people is always minimal viable product, okay? Which comes from a business book whose name I forget, but somebody can maybe remind me in the comments. But minimal viable product, okay? Just start in a very basic manner and get some stuff out there, and then see where you get to and improve as you go along, okay? Again, it's that simple, right? It's not overly complicated. Whatever it is you want to do, just start doing it and do it 100 times. So if you want to start a YouTube video, say, right, I'm going to put out a video every day for the next 100 days, okay? Now, the first videos may suck. They may even be as bad as this one. Joke. But you know what I'm saying? Like, they may not be very good, and it's going to take you time to improve and to refine that process and to get better at your craft. But it's far better to just start putting stuff out into the world. And the other thing as well is getting feedback, okay? I mean, regrettably, I get feedback the whole time off you lot because I'll put out videos and some people really like them and they like the message and they like the intent behind them and they resonate with my message or whatever energy that I'm putting out. And other people don't. And those people are not always shy in coming forwards and expressing their opinion. And that's fine. I mean, everybody has a right to an opinion. I don't necessarily agree with what they have to say, but they have a right to express it. And sometimes, you know, people say things and they are right. And I think, oh, actually, yeah, that guy's got a point. Maybe I should have done it like this, or maybe I should have concentrated more on this particular aspect of the topic, or maybe I should have gone in this direction instead of that direction, or whatever it is, or maybe the audio is not very good and I need to do something about that. So the first thing is that overthinking is going to kill whatever endeavor it is that you want to engage in. So if you overthink too much about doing a YouTube channel and making YouTube videos, then you're never going to start, and you're going to be too much of a perfectionist, and it's just not going to happen. But also, and that's an opportunity cost, because every day that you could have been putting out content and building an audience, you're not. But equally, and maybe even more importantly, you're also missing out on all the feedback that you could have got during that period as well, right? Because you could have got a bunch of feedback which would have been really useful, and you didn't get it, okay? Because you didn't put anything out. So there's a number of things there, but the overthinking piece is the most important. And this is particularly true in the case of women and dating, because the classic thing that everybody does is you see the pretty girl, it's in the nightclub, it's in the street, it's in the daytime, wherever. You see her, the girl in the red dress, as Alex Hormozy always says, you see the girl in the red dress and you're like, oh my God, if only I could go and talk to her, if only I could summon up the courage. And a couple of moments pass and you think, well, she's probably got a boyfriend, I'm probably not her type, I'm probably not in her league, she's probably this, she's probably that. And then she moves on and the opportunity's gone, and then you regret it. And you spend the next day, week, month regretting the fact that you didn't just go up and say hi to that girl, okay? Why did that happen? You overthought it, all right? If you'd have just walked up and said, hey, listen, I just got to say that red dress looks great. Anyway, have a good day. Now, she might, if she'd have smiled and opened up and been like, oh my God, that's so nice, it's so nice you came and gave me that compliment. Okay, fine. Start a conversation. If she just said, oh, thanks, and been pretty, non-committal, you're like, anyway, listen, just, have a great day. It was cool to meet you. And then walk off. No harm. You've given her a compliment, which is nice. You haven't outstayed your welcome, okay, which is a socially normal, calibrated thing to do. So it's win-win, okay? You didn't do it because you overthought it, all right? And so you deprived yourself of the opportunity of meeting her, and you also deprived her of the opportunity of meeting you, which you never know, she might have really relished. I mean, who knows, right? You're never going to know now because you didn't do it. So do the thing. And again, quoting the classic book title, The Obstacle is the Way, right? It's the obstacle is the way. The difficult thing, whatever that is, whether that's making the videos, whether that's lifting the weights, whether that's going for the runs, the difficult thing is the thing you have to do in order to get good at the difficult thing, right? There's no way around it, okay? For most of these practices, for most of these skill sets, I can't even really think of, if anybody can think of a skill set that you can get good at by simply thinking about it and studying it, then let me know. I suppose certain academic practices you can. But even then, I was going to say something like, I did literary criticism at university, right? So you could say, well, all you have to do is read the books and then write about it and then create an argument, and then you're basically sitting on your butt. You're not really doing anything, and you're rewarded for that. But even then, you have to write the essays in order to get better at writing an essay, in order to construct an argument. So even then, with whatever that skill set is, and I would include something like, say, political commentary, for example, in this as well. I was listening to some political commentary earlier, and I mean, what is the woman who was talking, what was she doing? Well, she was kind of sitting on her butt, talking to a microphone in a studio, right? But even in order to do that with coherence and cogency and in a compelling way, you need practice at doing that. So you could say, well, okay, she's not actually doing politics, she's not moving mountains. Well, fine. But even the thing that she is doing, in order to get good at doing that cog in the machine of life, which is political commentary, which some may argue is valuable and others may not, even to get good at that, you still have to do it 100 times, all right? So approach 100 women, right? Post 100 videos, lift 100 days running. Watch what happens, okay? What happens is that repetition creates actual, real confidence, and it starts to rewire your brain, okay? Because once you've done this stuff a few times, your brain it becomes a different thing. I found this with obviously with women in the whole approaching thing, but even with going into socially what I felt were high pressure situations. So going into posh, fancy nightclubs or night spots and bars and restaurants and things like that in a big city like London, I used to find somewhat intimidating, you know. And now I don't find it intimidating at all, because I know what the deal is and I've done it many, many, many times before. Okay, now it doesn't mean that I'm always going to get let in everywhere. It doesn't mean that I always come off as the most socially smooth person in the world, but it doesn't matter, right? Because I've done the reps, okay? I've done the 100 times. And so that's that, which is a relatively small thing, but that has become a lot easier for me, okay? So you want to rewire your brain, and there is real power in low pressure consistency over high pressure stakes perfection, right? And what I mean by that is, if you say, right, I'm only going to approach women who I regard as being a 10 out of 10, or like model status, I'm only going to approach model status women, then fine, but good luck with that. Because if you haven't approached anyone for 3 weeks and then you suddenly see this girl and you're like, oh my God, she looks like a supermodel, and you're going completely cold and you have to walk up to her in the daytime and start a conversation, how well is that conversation really going to go realistically? You know? Like, it's probably going to be a car crash. And it would have been a lot better if you talked to 100 women, you know, who were nice and attractive and whatever, or even just 100 people, right? You know, just you'd had random conversations with strangers, with a bunch of people over the preceding few weeks, and then you would be much more comfortable and much more confident going up and talking to that super, super, super attractive woman, or that woman that you, because remember, this is all subjective to an extent, that woman that you perceived as being super, super attractive. You would find that a lot easier having put in the work, having put in the repetitions beforehand, rather than just doing it cold. So that's what I mean by this low pressure consistency. It's the same thing with if you put out a video every day, right? If you're doing a YouTube channel, then not every video is going to be great, and that's okay. You know, some videos are going to do really well, they're going to pop off, others not so well for whatever reason. Okay, it could be to do with how your energy is coming across, it could be to do with the subject matter, it could be to do with the title, it could be to do with the thumbnail. I mean, there's so many different things. But if you say, no, I'm not going to release anything until I've created this absolutely perfect video, again, it's going to take you months, if you ever even do it. Because the bar is going to be so high in your head, that you've set the bar so high, are you even going to release that bloody video? Probably not, you know? And genuinely, I've seen people completely stymie themselves over this stuff, when really they could have, by now they could have had a channel that was, if not popping off, at least they were, you know, they were getting some traction with. And there's only an upside to doing the thing that you want to do. There's only an upside to this 100 rule, because the more that you do it, the better you're going to get anyway, naturally, and the more real world feedback you're going to get. And that's then going to impact on your ability, because you're going to tweak as you go along. So you're going to get better, and then the feedback is going to get better, and it's going to build on itself. Unless the feedback is consistently not very good. And then in that case, you might think, well, I need to get a mentor. So in the case of dating, you might think, well, I need to give old Troy Francis a call, or drop him an email at troy@realtroyfrancis.com, or DM me on one of my social platforms and ask for some help, because, you know, mentorship is very, very important, right? But nevertheless, to get to that place, if you need to do that, then you're gonna realize that you need to do that much more quickly if you do the work. That is, you put in the repetitions, okay? So the other thing as well about all of this is that rejection in any form is difficult. So rejection from, in a romantic sense, from women, not easy. We don't like it. It's not very pleasant. Rejection in terms of work. People don't like our video. People don't like our book. People don't like our article. People don't like our, whatever it is. That's not very nice. It creates uncomfortable feelings. We feel like we're not part of the tribe. We feel less than. It might bring up some trauma or some triggers from our childhood or past, or people being critical of us in the past and all of that nonsense. I say nonsense, sorry. I mean, I'm not disparaging it. It's genuine stuff, but it brings up all of this unnecessary baggage. But once again, if you do something 100 times, then each individual failure matters less. So it's far more galling, and I know this from my own personal experience, it's far more galling to wait a year and then gear yourself up and finally ask out this girl on a date and get rejected by that girl. That's an incredibly galling, difficult thing to have to go through than just going up to 100 women in a nightclub and getting rejected by most of them, but then a couple of them seem to really like you and you end up, dating one or two of them. The more that you do something, the less important each iteration of the activity assumes. Okay, so if every day you talk to 10 new people, then the importance of each interaction is vastly reduced. If you only talk to one new person a year, then a negative outcome in that interaction could scar you for life, right? So you build up this emotional detachment through volume, and I mean, that's really what happened with me. I've told my own personal story around this a lot of times, but I went from being very shy and detached and socially isolated at school to going to Manchester and spending a lot of time both working in and going out socially in the clubs and the bars there. And I just had this kind of, for various reasons I won't go into now, but some of them were chemical, I ended up in this state where suddenly I kind of flipped it. I became incredibly social. I was talking to loads of different people, and sure, I was getting rejected, but I also found that a lot of people were drawn to me. Guys were drawn to my energy. They liked me. They thought I was cool, and there were girls who were attracted to me, right? And my life completely changed, and it changed because of repetition. It changed because I went and did it 100 times. And then I went and did it another 100 times. And then I went and did it another 100 times. Okay? As I say, the obstacle is the way. All right? The difficult thing that you have to face is the thing that you have to face in order to get good at the difficult thing. All right? Sounds like circular logic, and it is, but it's unfortunately, it's really true. And finally, you want to reset your dopamine so that your dopamine, the reward that you get, is less from the outcome than it is from doing the process. Okay, so what you want to be doing is, if it's a case of learning to be social with women and you're on a night out and you go and talk to 5 or 10 women in the venue, then you want to concentrate less on what happened. Did she say yes? Did she say no? Did she give me a phone number? And more on the fact that you had the balls to do it, right? You were one of the few guys in that venue who actually had the nerve to be authentic and honest with himself about what he wanted to do and to go and express that to those women, okay? Come what may, right? And a lot of men don't have the stones to do that, quite frankly, particularly in the modern world. So already you're putting yourself above 95% of the male population. And over time, your dopamine will start to reward you for doing the action rather than for whatever the actual outcome is. Because the outcome in the end is going to take care of itself. If you do this stuff enough, whatever it is, and this is in business, this is in dating, this is in fitness, in sports, whatever. Music, learning a musical instrument, learning to play a new game, whatever. If you start to focus on process rather than outcome, which you naturally will, then that's where your dopamine will come from. And then that will then, again, positively reinforce this cycle where you're able to convince yourself to go out and do the thing 100 times because it's actually quite fun. And you actually get a buzz from doing the thing. And it's like, wow, I did that thing 100 times. I feel really good about myself now. I went to the gym 100 times in a row. I mean, okay, I might not be jacked yet, but I went to I did it. Most people would say that they would do something. They don't do it, right? They sit on their butt and they watch Netflix. I actually made a decision. I went out and I did it and I made it happen. And now I'm going to do it again, okay? And the results will come in time. And maybe I need to tweak and maybe I need to get a mentor and maybe I need to change things up, but that's fine. I'm learning as I go, okay? So rule of 100, obliterate overthinking, just do it, do 100 approaches, lift 100 times, post 100 videos. Repetition creates confidence, okay? So lean into that. Low pressure consistency is better than high stakes perfection. So doing something consistently in lower pressure situations is better than just putting all your money on red and it failing and you feeling terrible for the next decade. You get more emotionally detached through volume, which is super important. And over time, your dopamine is going to reset itself. So you're going to start to get pleasure from the actual act of doing the thing rather than from whatever results may or may not come. So hope you liked that one. Hope you found that useful. Leave your comments below. And if you want to stop playing small, and if you want to build real power with me in the real dating world and become a man who can navigate love, business, seduction, and strategy without apologizing, then firstly, join my Substack newsletter, okay? Join the paid version. It's only like a tenner a month or something. It's really inexpensive, less than the price of a coffee, so that you get all the articles. And we're going to be starting a gentlemanly online community very soon as well, so look out for details of that. Alternatively, you might want to do some one-on-one coaching with me, which could be online, it could be in person, it could be at a boot camp. So either hit me up via DM on one of my social platforms, so Instagram or X at @RealTroyFrancis, or you can drop me an email, troy@realtroyfrancis.com. Include your WhatsApp details if you can. We can have a chat and we'll take it from there. Hope you enjoyed the episode. I will see you guys again very soon. Bye-bye.